Good day and welcome to this Focus On segment. I'm Dewald Rademeyer. Today we're putting the spotlight on Africa Energy Week happening this week at Cape Town ICC, and I'm joined by two guests who's going to walk us through what we can expect to happen. I'm firstly joined by Jude, Kearney, Managing Partner at ASAFO and Co. at Washington, DC. Jude, thank you for joining us. What I want to know from you is the distinction between our current resources and the desire to find new energy resources. Can you help walk me through this?
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to discuss the upcoming energy conference. And thanks for that, I think, very, very timely question. One of the things that, I think Africa broadly and different African countries agree very, very readily with the West on is the need for all of us to take good care of the planet and to find ways to reduce any man-made degradation of our environment. So we're simpatico in regards to the need to find alternative ways of energizing the continent in a way that doesn't impair our environment. There is also, as you know, a vast currency of resources on the African continent. To some extent, less exploited in Africa than it has been in some other parts of the world. Africa has a lot of economies that badly need injections of diversity, but also injections of cash and resources. So and also it's Africa has great need for the reduction of energy poverty, meaning the increase of available electricity for its populations. So those things are not necessarily at tension, but they are very different focuses. One is making sure that we do all things possible, including improving the technology and the use of hydrocarbons. The other is to get the benefit of the hydrocarbons for some of the immediate needs, while also trying to acknowledge and support the worldwide focus on climate remediation.
Now, you participated in last year's event as a speaker. Can we look forward to seeing you as a speaker again?
Yeah, I'm probably one of the members of the Africa Energy Chamber who is always ready to engage in discussions about, first of all, how Africa as a broad continent, but how each of its individual countries can make the most of its energy resources, while also at the same time trying to improve both the technology and the prospects of its citizens. So that's a lot of what we focus on in these conferences, and it's been a real pleasure to do that. In this year's conference, I'll have a couple of hats to wear. One of them is to lead a discussion on the issue of the interaction between various African energy policies vis-a-vis U.S. energy policy, to make sure that we, discuss ways in which U.S. policy and African policies can be harmonized.
Are we looking, or are you looking to find a way to align the two policies, African policies and the U.S. policies, to help move this just transitioning quicker?
Absolutely. In fact, it's not even that I'm looking to harmonize them myself. The truth of the matter is, on both sides, there's a recognition, of the need to reduce the emission of harmful particles into our atmosphere, while at the same time recognizing that the current demand for energy of all sorts is very strong, and any sort of unexpected delay or negative impact on the availability of those resources causes very severe economic issues. So I think we're in pretty good harmony to begin with. I think we're basically simpatico, but we're always looking for ways to make sure that our specific activities can be harmonized and that there's greater understanding.
What's the current outlook for oil and gas and energy in Africa? And subsequently to that, what does the Africa's hydrogen landscape look like?
Two very different questions, but very good questions. The outlook for hydrocarbons generally, petroleum and others, is one of the need to find useful and relatively moderate ways of exploiting and using those hydrocarbon resources, because there are no great alternatives right now. The issue of renewables is one that is relatively new. Over the last decade or so, that Africa has really began to focus on renewables, and it's growing, thankfully. But the ability to energize the great growth in populations and the great growth in economies in Africa depend on substantial additional and readily available power and energy. So the short term, and that's why we focus on quote unquote transition. The short term need for energy of all sorts is tremendous, so I think it's the same not just in Africa. It's the same throughout the world. There will be a short term focus on making sure that wherever there is energy depletion that is causing economic or sort of population issues or problems, there will be a need to rush in and provide energy of all sorts to reduce any suffering that's associated with the lack of energy. But the outlook is one that over time, both in Africa and the rest of the world, both renewable energy as well as cleaner technologies for all types of energy will improve and increase.
And that was Jude Kearney, managing partner at ASAFO & Co. at Washington, D.C. I'm now joined by Grace Orifie, Africa Energy Chamber board member, to discuss to us about what we can look forward to at this week's Africa Energy Week. Grace, thank you for joining me. I think from the start, what can we look forward to at the Africa Energy Week this week?
Energy Week, the focus on African Energy Week 2022 will be arriving at strategic innovations for energy, the energy future, African energy future, which includes making energy poverty history by 2030. That will be a key focus, I would also like to point that the aim of African Energy Week is for it to be more interactive. It's going to be interactive exhibition and networking events that will bring African energy stakeholders together to drive the growth of the African energy value chain and to promote collaboration among African energy players.
Grace, which discussions will be on the table at the Africa Energy Week?
There will be discussions on challenges and opportunities to raise capital and strategies for financing the African energy future. And we are also looking at forward to making strategic network and partnership as well.
Also, where can people go to find out more information about the Africa Energy Week? And on that, what are the main program highlights at the Africa Energy Week?
For the highlights, the main highlight of AEW 2022 is the coming together of African energy stakeholders with investors and international partners to drive industry growth and development. So you have delegates and speakers to expect a strong lineup of discussions and investment forums. It's an opportunity where stakeholders can actually meet investors as well, and networking functions. There'll be loads of networking functions and deal signing ceremonies covering the entire African energy value chain. And we can actually follow, yes, we can follow AEW on Instagram at African Energy Week, and on Facebook at African Energy Week, and Twitter at Real AEW, and on YouTube on Energy Chamber, and on LinkedIn on African Energy Chamber, African Energy Week.
Grace, what would you like to see materialize at the Africa Energy Week?
What I would like to see materialize on African Energy Week, two things, two areas. One, the deal signing. Two, the collaboration among African stakeholders. I would like to see collaboration, because this is an opportunity for all Africans, most African stakeholders, to come together in the same environment and look at the opportunities we have. Also look at the challenges, and some of these challenges, we can actually have opportunities coming out of some of the challenges. And we see how we can collaborate and work to actually make the energy poverty history by 2030.
Definitely looking forward to the event of this week. That was Grace Orifie, Africa Energy Chamber board member, and Jude Kearney, managing partner at ASAFO & Co, Washington, D.C. Thank you to both my guests who joined us today, and until next time, goodbye.